My sister-in-law froze my greenhouse before market day. The climate log showed her access code. I grow winter herbs in cedar and glass greenhouses outside Halston. Most of my yearly income arrives during 6 cold weeks, when restaurants and holiday shoppers want fresh basil, mint, and flowering rosemary. My younger brother Daniel married Brooke last summer. Brooke made dried flower wreaths and wanted a booth at the same winter market I supplied. The market manager, Lee, told her every booth was assigned. She could join the waiting list or apply next season. Brooke smiled and said, "Maybe Tessa will finally take a weekend off." I laughed because it sounded like teasing. She sometimes used my packing shed, so I gave her a temporary guest profile for deliveries. It opened the side gate and let her check whether the greenhouse loading door was locked. It also appeared inside the climate control application. I assumed guest profiles could only view temperatures. The Friday before opening day, every greenhouse looked perfect. I watered the rosemary, checked the heaters, and left after dark. Before sunrise, I returned to find the main greenhouse filmed with icy condensation. The basil had folded against the trays. Tender rosemary tips had turned dull and soft. The thermostat showed nearly freezing. Both roof vents were open, and every temperature alert had been disabled. I stood there holding a warm coffee while cold air moved past my boots. Brooke arrived 20 minutes later with empty flower crates. "You probably forgot the heater," she said. "I can ask Lee for your booth, so the family doesn't lose the weekend." I had never forgotten that heater. I also hadn't told anyone the alerts were silent. Brooke posted in our family chat before I finished checking the second greenhouse. She wrote that my equipment failure had ruined the market order and offered to step in with wreaths. Daniel called and asked me not to be stubborn. "Let Brooke rescue the contract," he said. "You can sort out the plants later." I told him I was sorting out the controls first. My technician, Henry, arrived before breakfast. He checked the heater, the vent motors, and the electrical panel. Everything worked when commanded. Then he opened the manufacturer's audit page. Shortly after midnight, a guest profile named Brooke Delivery had lowered the heat setting, opened both roof vents, and muted every alert. The door keypad recorded the same guest code minutes earlier. Henry exported the audit and signed the service report. He looked at me and said, "Machines don't make this sequence by themselves." I called Lee, expecting to lose the booth anyway. Instead, she asked me to come to the market office. Brooke had emailed her a replacement proposal the previous evening. It said my greenhouse might suffer an equipment problem overnight and suggested transferring my space immediately. The proposal arrived hours before the temperature changed. When Brooke joined us, she said she had only checked the application because she worried about frost. Henry pointed to each command and its timestamp. "Checking doesn't open vents," he said. She turned to Daniel and called the audit confusing. Daniel read the service report twice, then stopped defending her. Lee rejected Brooke's proposal and kept my contract active. She gave me until noon to confirm what I could deliver. The outer rows were lost, but the heated benches protected my mother plants. 2 neighboring growers lent me trays of parsley and thyme. By afternoon, I had enough stock for a smaller display. I removed Brooke's guest profile and changed every gate code. I also ended our packing shed arrangement in writing. Daniel asked me not to share the audit publicly. I told him I wasn't interested in embarrassing anyone. I was interested in keeping people away from my controls. On market morning, Lee placed my original sign above the booth. Customers bought every surviving rosemary plant before lunch. That evening, I closed the greenhouse vents, heard the heaters settle into their steady rhythm, and locked the door behind me.